Hello and welcome back. Welcome back to CPR's Clubhouse Live. My name is CPR Jose Ortiz, and I'm being joined by the CPR's Clubhouse Freestyle Universe, or as we call them, the crew. We have the Vinyl Assassin, DJ Cliff Potts, and of course, we got the Duchess Cheryl Rodriguez. Welcome.
Thank you.
And the topic of the day is TKA, KL, K7, all the iterations of an artist that has been a friend of mine. And I was counting, right? I was counting. I'm like, we've been friends for a long time. That's pretty cool. We speak, 2 or 3 times a day sometimes. And I'm speaking of K7 himself, KL. The friendship started in 2009, I believe, and it's still going strong. And it's gotten even stronger throughout the years. Through the pandemic, we spoke a lot. To recent projects, we spoke a lot until the recent announcement that he was no longer going to record freestyle music. So I thought it would be great for us to get together and discuss that. I want to right now do a disclaimer. I just said that he is a friend of mine, right? So I'm gonna speak from my experiences with him, and I'm gonna speak on my opinion. And so if you don't want to hear my opinion, then this is not the show for you because it is CPR's Clubhouse Live, right? So the crew will have their opinion as well, and we're also going to be sharing our top 5 freestyle songs from TKA, K7, KL from the new school era. Let's begin by discussing your opinion and your reaction to TKA, KL, K7 announcing that he is no longer recording freestyle music. I'll start with DJ Cliff Potts. What do you think?
A loss for the freestyle community, right? I mean, one of the legends, right? I mean, when you talk about freestyle, you talk about TKA. So, I mean, as they say, all good things need to come to an end.
Yes.
And I think the song was fitting as an ending song
Yes.
to a career. So
Yeah.
it's sad to see him go. Of course, best endeavors, for whatever he takes on. But it's a loss. But he's provided the freestyle community with incredible music for the last, 35, 40 years.
Yes. I remember a lot of freestyle fans asking for him to record new music, or TKA or K7 or KL to record new music. And throughout the years, he's given them all those things. And in the end, it's like, I've done all I could done, or I could do for the genre, and it's time for me to move on. Cheryl, let me ask you, how was your reaction?
Sad. I was a little sad. Like Cliff said, when you think it's freestyle, even for like the ones that never really like stayed with the genre throughout the years, if they hear the word freestyle, it's one of the names that they think of, TKA. And so, though it's sad, though I completely understand where he is, and like Cliff said, you go out with a bang. A fabulous new song, great way to just sort of slow it down, end it out, and I think we always supported him, right? Even when he went into making swing batter swing, and what was the other one there that I body rock, like I'm obsessed with, but so I think it's not the end for him, which is giving me like hope, and still like excited to hear that maybe I'll hear his name coming up in the future. But it is a loss to freestyle. He has carried us through for a long time.
Yes.
And just when things kind of seem like they're going this way, and then it's TKA and they come out with something, it's like boom, and then it gets us all excited again, and it's had that circle for like a long time, and we won't get that anymore. So it's sad, but I respect what he's doing. I'm proud of him. I'm happy for him. Wish him the best.
2020 was a great year. He could have ended it there with "Slipping Through My Hands." That was a monumental song for the community.
Yep.
But I feel like I can blame the community for his retirement, right? Because I think that a lot of the information that is put out there a lot is, they don't want to pass the torch, right? Or they don't want to involve the new artists and help them out, or help out new people in the community. And I can say wholeheartedly that Kay did that. And he listened to everything that everyone said, and even though he wasn't interested at the time, 13 years ago, to record new freestyle, he still did. And he gave a lot of different unique ways. I recall one of his songs, "Slow It Down," where he put freestyle, and he put reggae, mix it together. It's a beautiful song, but then the conditional support happens, right? And I think that's the biggest frustration. The music is called freestyle, but the style is really not free. Like, it has to be in a certain parameter for them to even want to play
Right.
it. And even if you do record it in that parameter, then there are other rules that you got to abide by. We could talk about living in the 1980s in a moment. But throughout the years, he's tried to give a new twist to freestyle. He's done it with "Slow It Down." He did it with trying to do a hardcore freestyle song like "Slipping Through My Hands." He's done it with "True Love" in 2016 when they celebrated 30
Beautiful
years of
song.
TKA. It's a
Yep.
great album, the TKA 30 album, "Love Goes On."
Yep.
The title track. If you listen to the lyrics of a lot of his songs, he's a storyteller.
Oh yeah.
And I think that people in the freestyle community are too worried about the beat, right? That they're not really worried about the message. And I think that in the coming years, like they're doing now, they're going to start appreciating some of the projects that he has released over the years. So it is a perfect time for him to retire, because in the next 10 years now, you're going to have new people discovering the bright stuff and the brilliance of what he recorded after
Right.
the TKA Maria and Sexual Fantasy days.
Right.
The last 13 years, he's put out a lot of great quality stuff.
Yeah.
But let's talk about conditional support. Um, Cliff Potts, I think you're the only DJ that has been able to handle the stress of mixing in living in the 1980s. Because from what I'm being told, right, it has to have the opening beat, a breakdown, and then an end beat. You know what I mean? And this is not that type of song. It isn't that type of ending.
Yeah, no, it's not. But I've always said it, as a DJ, you essentially have to be an artist,
Right.
be creative, think outside the box. Don't just take the song as is, and break the song down and figure out, okay, if I need to put this in a mix, how can I change it to make it mine
Right.
and make it, fit the mix that I want to put it in for. And I mean, I'm not going to lie. I think we had a brief conversation. I love the song, and I said, let me put it into a mix. And then I said, all right, let me listen to it. And I'm going, holy shit.
Right, but I think that the way that you handled it in this week's mix was brilliant, and you can hear that right now on the CPR's Clubhouse Freestyle podcast. And you did it. How do I put it? You did it like seamlessly. Like, it was like so seamless in the transition that I was like, man, Cliff did a great job. So kudos to you. But we talk about conditional support, right? And there's a lot of conditions being put on the legends, right? To the point where it's unfair, I think. So TKA puts out a new song, and it's compared to what they did in the 80s, right? And it's like, so we're not trying to go to the 80s. We're trying to evolve and show that this music can be hip, right? And can be interesting to the young demographic. And it's like, nah, we can't do that. I was like, of course we can, right? So talking about living in the 1980s, now people are like, oh, it doesn't have an intro, it doesn't have a breakdown, it doesn't have an end you could mix out of. Okay, so my question is, did you play Louder Than Love? Yes, right. You play Louder Than Love. Louder Than Love doesn't have a 12-inch version. It starts the way that it starts, the middle is the way that it is, and the ending is the way that it is. You play that. So what's the issue with this song, right? Then it's like the production, right? Okay, so did you play Keenan Trayvon? This young
Right.
man, right?
Right.
Because this is the same producer and the same
Sounds. Yeah.
style, right? So again, all these conditional, parameters that they put into, you got to sound like you're in the 1980s, right? You got to sound like TKA Out of the Love. You got to sound like Maria, and then you give them something similar, and it's like, oh no, but you got to, I need an extended version. You got to give me the acapella. You got to. So it's like so much work, right? And then in the end, not only do the DJs that are complaining not support, but the fans that listen to the music that were saying you need to make new music, they don't support either, right? So again, where does an artist like him go if he can't express himself in free style or a style of
Right.
free music, right? Where
Right.
does he go? He goes somewhere else. Having a discussion with him and say, Mark Anthony's still viable after all these years. Jennifer Lopez is still viable. They're creating pop songs every day. So if he wanted to go back to doing that, of course he can. But
Just to chime in real quick, just
sure,
because
go
you
ahead.
brought up his name, right? I mean, you look at somebody like Mark Anthony,
Right.
right? Which, you know, I'm probably off on my numbers, but let's say 90% of the freestyle fans, right, don't even know that he had Rebel, right? Which
Right.
was, a freestyle song. And he changed, right? I mean, yeah, he did background vocals on numerous freestyle records, but
Hmm.
he changed his style. So if you're going to compare and say, oh, Mark Anthony's not singing Rebel, who cares?
Right.
Music's all about evolution. The DJs who complain today that it doesn't sound like the songs from the 80s are the same DJs that say, oh, embrace the new technology. Oh, it's a controller,
Right.
it's got features, do this. Okay, well, if you can embrace that, then embrace the change in the song. Um,
But
that's
you know
just.
what? Oh, if I may, to that point, I always thought of Kay as definitely, he's up here in my head, but he's up here in my head because, like I said, he's been able to carry through so many decades, and he has this knack, this really good way of knowing what the sound is at the time and knowing what the people want to hear from him. So it kind of does go both ways. But for one, he has been able to keep that up for so many years and be able to produce songs that are still TKA, but they're him, but they're K7. And we love him for that. But how much do we expect him to do? How far do we expect him to go? At one point, like CPR said, he can only do so much, especially in this genre where we're not letting him free. We're not letting him out to do other things. And I think he will definitely succeed if he's able to do so. I mean, the talent is ridiculous, so you can't deny. I mean, he's stuck around for a reason.
Yeah, and for a fact that in freestyle, you become friends with someone long enough for them to become your enemy or your competition. So that's another thing, another point that I want to make when it comes to Kay not wanting to do freestyle anymore. It was more now a competition, like who can knock down the
Right.
legend. We go back to the Stevie B rant of a few years ago, and instead of people understanding where he's coming from, CVB, I mean, they tried to go against him or try to battle him or try to bring his level down so the other person can feel higher. And did that work for our community? I don't think it did. Our community uh,
Right.
online, by the way, not in real life. Our community online is probably the worst that it has ever been. And so, I heard recently that Freestyle has 5 years to really do something. Not for the legends though. The legends could still sing this at 80, and people will still pack stadiums to go see them. And if you doubt what I'm saying, check out the piece that the local news did for TKA K7 KL just a few days ago recently. I will put the link on the description of this show so you can see, what TKA is performing to.
Oh
And
yeah.
and by the way, whenever I see a freestyle show, one of the biggest attractions of that freestyle show, whether it be 10 artists or 5 or 3 or whatever, is TKA on the bill, right?
Mhm.
Because they are the greatest performers this music has ever seen in group form, right?
Right.
No matter what iteration, right? Um, you if you look at that and you see that show that they don't slow down, I think they're getting faster, right, with age, and
Incredible. Yeah.
they're trying to come up with innovative ways to continue to be hip. That is what freestyle is all about. And I'm sure that my friend Kay is relieved now. That he's no longer uh, indebted to the freestyle community. Now there are two things that he did that I appreciate. One is that he did a symbolic passing of the torch, right? And number two, he was able to reconnect with AB Cruz, the actual voices of TKA, and that was also a great ending point for him in the freestyle community, so he can move forward and do other things that he's wanted to do. But the symbolic passing of the torch, which he chose a female artist. He didn't choose a male artist. So that also shows that there are many male artists who are on social media claiming that they're the number one person or the number one artist, and they have to do some self-reflection right now because the torch was passed on to a woman, right? And as the symbolic torch. And the reason why it was passed down to that woman, in my opinion, is because she is the epitome of what an artist is supposed to be. I've never seen that artist having any beef with anyone. Wherever she goes, she's loved. Whatever she does is sung well, sometimes too well, right? She's excellent. The lyrics are ridiculous. The production is ridiculous. The performances are ridiculous. There's not a female in the genre of freestyle that can match up to the Princess of Style, Miss Cynthia Figueroa. So, how did you guys see the passing of the torch? That short video that Kay put out there on my channel. Cliff, what did you think about him passing the torch to Cynthia Figueroa?
I mean, I think you said it right. I mean, to me, she could sing. She could sing the telephone book. I mean, her voice is that not only that strong, but that great, and it has such a passion to her voice when she sings. And back to your point, there's no drama with her. She just wants to sing, whether it's freestyle, whether it's with her band. She'll sing anywhere. That's somebody who really is passionate about the music, and she's still putting out great music. She's got connections to an incredible producer. Yeah, I mean, it, I wasn't surprised.
What about you, Cheryl?
I don't think there's a bad thing you could ever even pretend to say about the woman. I mean, she is, the epitome of what freestyle should represent then, now, and in the future. And I'm not biased or anything. It's not like I love her to death. I'm just saying, but no, I've seen a lot of shows. I mean, listen, years and years and years and years of shows, and you name them, I've probably just about seen them live, and till this day, and just as recently as a week ago when I saw her sing live, one of the best live vocalists you'll ever hear. I don't even know how much the woman has to practice. She's just, what comes out of her mouth is so beautiful. There's no denying it. And so to pass the torch to her, first of all, was like, yeah, man, like, what a perfect person, male or female. Like, forget about like a gender, right? Like, if you could do it, like, she is like a perfect torch getter.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
when I say that, it's a symbolism, right? Like,
Yeah.
hey, and Cynthia Figueroa is at least 2 to 3 generations after TKA K7, right? But
Right.
the bottom line is that now she can choose to also pass that torch to someone else in another generation, and she would graciously whenever she's ready to step down. Hopefully not anytime soon. But I just say that it's time for the male artists in freestyle to take a hard look at themselves and realize that maybe they're not who they say they are, right? And maybe they're not ready to have a torch passed to them. We know by most of the male artists' behavior on social media that none of them are ready for that responsibility. And a woman like Cynthia Figueroa can hold on to that responsibility with grace. If you see her at a concert and you see it in person or you see her at the grocery store, same
Right.
interaction. right?
Right.
I don't think that's the case for the male category in freestyle, right? The male category in freestyle is I'm better than you and you know it, and it's always that way. You could only go back to the Stevie B rant, to see how the male category went with what he said versus what the female category did um,
Right.
with
Well,
what he
well,
said.
that's why so, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I was going back to what we were saying about Kay and why I think it's been so difficult for him over the last years to keep up with what we are demanding of him and what he has gotten. And he's been through a lot of stuff that, he probably really shouldn't have had to go through just in trying to make the music he wanted to make. And so I do commend him for that. But that's what I mean by like we all thinking in agreement that it was a really good time for him to get out, and like we'll see him doing other things, but I don't think that freestyle was giving him what he needs or what he wants anymore. And then we're not talking about someone who did it for 5 years. I mean, he's like 35 years,
And,
86 or I don't remember when the first song came out, but
and we're talking about performing and versus recording. So he's not
yeah,
going to
right,
record any new freestyle. There are two more
right,
projects
right,
that have to be, produced, or is in the end stages of production. One is a song with actual, and then the other song I can't talk about, but it'll be cathartic. It'll be amazing. But I wish him well with his future endeavors, and I just want the community to see that we are getting ready to say goodbye to many people. We already said goodbye to a great producer in D Mike, who remixed True Love, and you can find that at cprsmusic.com. You can download that for free. So you can go there now and get that copy. But big shout outs go out to D Mike if he's watching this. D Mike, one of the best producers of the new school era, right? And he couldn't find um, you know, his piece in his productions anymore when it comes to freestyle. So he just stopped doing it. Um, and that's unfortunate because he was very talented and he still is, right? In whatever he does. And I guess it may or may have not affected his personal life. And sometimes you do choose your family over this genre of music, right? And then we're getting ready to say goodbye to Niaja, who is also getting ready to put out her final songs and leave the community. Now, what are we doing as a community to replenish these voices? Um, I think that what we're doing is scaring more people away. It's my on social media, by the way, not in real
right.
life. And
Mm,
I keep saying that because social media is not real life, right? When we pay attention more to stupidity and conjecture and drama and somebody on camera brandishing a weapon and people with their personal issues, those things is not real life when it comes to the freestyle community. The
right,
real freestyle fans are the ones that are going to be packing the Foxwoods casinos in Connecticut next week
right,
to see the freestyle legends, right? And a lot of the new schoolers, right? They wanted to have that same opportunity and position, and we only have had a couple of people that have broken through, right? Because they just kept their nose to the ground, or they realized that the way that they were going was not a positive one, and they needed to change a little bit, and so they adjusted. But then there are some that are just in the mix of crap all the time, and it's unfortunate. But again, how much more can the community take on social media where young people that watch this music or see this music or follow this music because of generational listenership are going to be like, I'm good, I don't want to do this anymore, I don't want to
right.
listen, I don't want to be part of it.
It's a
So
shame because social has kind of both helped freestyle and hurt it just as bad. It kind of goes both ways. So and it is a shame,
so
you
what
know.
we're gonna have to deep dive on that in the future. But right now,
Oh,
what we came here for is to celebrate the brilliance that is TKA, K7, KL, the new school releases that he's had. And so we'll start counting down the top 5 TKA songs, our personal list. Right now on the CPR's Clubhouse Freestyle Universe podcast, you can check out the top 10, which includes votes from the community, which includes feedback from DJs, from artists, from Kay himself, and we came up with a top 10 list that we're counting down right now on cprsmusic.com, CPR's Clubhouse Freestyle Universe, and of course our partners at hot977.com, 90.7 FM, Party 101.9, Hits 90.5, Jams 99.3, and of course Rhythm 105.9, 0.5, I'm sorry, Rhythm 105.5. And did I get that incorrect like 9 times? Rhythm
Yeah, but we know
105.
what you mean.
I'm like, that, it's the coffee, by the way.
Never correct your elders. No.
Yeah, never correct your elders. Rhythm 105.9. And I apologize for that. But the schedule for everyone here in the CPR's Clubhouse Freestyle Universe is on cprsmusic.com. So let's count down the top 5 TKA songs, our personal list of the new school era. And we're gonna start with number 5. DJ Cliff Potts, what do you have for number 5?
My number 5. So let me start by saying this. You can probably count on 3 fingers from a freestyle artist who has a catalog from TKA, K7 back to TKA, right? I mean, in the freestyle genre, it's unheard of to have that kind of catalog. So, all congratulations to Kay, because that's a feat in itself, especially from let's be real, the short time span that freestyle had as its high point, right? So, and putting the top 5 together. I mean, I struggled with top 3, so then I had to go 5. But 5, I'm going with something newer, which is Spanish Lullaby.
Nice. So, for those of you that may not be aware, TKA, K7, Kayel, he teamed up with the League of Heroes, is what they called it. TRL Trilogy, CNR, and Kenny Diaz. Rest in peace, CNR. He just recently passed away. But they all teamed up together to make the super group TKA and TRL Spanish Lullaby. That's a great choice. That's a great choice. Something that again, it's them going back to the roots, right? And starting that new sound for freestyle, using the old sound and the new sound, blending it together and trying to come up with a great formula. And Spanish Lullaby is that. So many great beats on those releases, because they have been separate batches of releases on digital platforms. So if you have a chance to check out this great collaboration between TKA and TRL Trilogy, check it out. That's a great choice. I really enjoyed that. And it's very mixable, huh?
For some.
For some others, they're still stuck on the Planet Rock beat, Cheryl Rodriguez, who's your number 5?
Spanish Lullaby.
Nice. So we have 2 for Spanish Lullaby. What was your reaction when you first heard that team up?
When I first heard the names were even coming together, like I was just like open mouth, like so excited, like anyone who loves the two, to combine them, and the talent that must have been in that room is just, forget about it. Like I would have, incredible. And I love the song. I was like,
take my money, please. I'm a credit card pre-order. I got every version.
Yep. Incredible.
Same thing here.
Loved it. I loved it.
For me, number 5 is it's a coming together of 2 brothers who started a group, TKA. You have AB Cruz, you have Kayel coming together. Frankie Cutlass surprised us a few years back with them performing together. They wore the NWO TKA shirts, which was my idea, and I said it'll be great if you showed up with NWO shirts, and then you had AB show up with an NWO shirt, so it's like he's joining the crew again. And so it's like the actual voices of TKA. That song "Don't Forsake Me" to me is just
another great one.
It's for me it's a bringing together of the superpowers, right? The TKA superpowers. And people always ask, why not come back as TKA? Because AB is his own entity, right? and you want to pay tribute to that, his own entity, his own voice. So that's why it's actual voices of TKA, and like AB's gonna take that brand forward, and hopefully more will come out of it. There is another actual record coming out with both voices, right? AB and K, and that should be coming out soon. But having them get together on Frankie Cutler's show was very emotional to me. It was a Monday night. I wasn't watching pro wrestling, right? I was watching that, and that to me was a great moment and a great moment in history. How these two came together. Now they're touring together. They're performing at the same events. Um, uh, AB's being featured on the main stage, and these two gentlemen who are the actual voices of TKA
Right.
being together to me is amazing.
Yeah, it was beautiful to see.
All right, so we're gonna go with number 4. Duchess, who do you have? Or what song do you have at number 4?
I have "Don't Call It Love" with Cynthia featuring Judy Torres.
Yes,
First family of freestyle.
yeah, the first family of freestyle is has to be the most underrated,
Yeah, man.
under promoted,
Yeah.
song that
I agree.
people, again, conditional support. There was a lot of conditional support for a song that had TKA, Cynthia, Judy Torres, and you could also hear Tony Moran in it, right? So,
Yep.
and it was a return of one of the greatest writers of all time, right? And what happened there? Why was the support not there for the song?
I don't know.
So again, the fan base, right, is always like, yeah, let's get some great stuff out here, right? Record new freestyle music, and then they record it, and it's like, but it doesn't sound like Cover Girl Show Me. It doesn't sound.
Yeah.
I'm like, but we're in 2022.
Right.
Like, what do you expect?
Right.
That's because when you turn to, freestyle is kept alive because of social media, right? I mean, at least the new freestyle. To your point, the TKAs, the Cynthias, when they go to a concert, those are the real freestyle fans. They're coming
Absolutely.
out. They always go. But when you turn to social media and what the so-called freestyle fans are promoting, things get lost, and some of the bad songs they promote make something that's good fall to the bottom of the list.
Yeah, so it's like, let's not play "Don't Call It Love" because it has an old beat. I'm like, but you wanted stuff from the '80s. It's in there, right? Oh, but Judy sounds like she's yelling. What are you talking about? Like, Judy always is that note.
That was one of
Like,
the greatest notes too. I mean, I get like literal goosebumps when she comes on in that song. It's
my
incredible.
favorite part of that is like,
Yeah.
she's a person. She's a person that helps people every day, like as a counselor, right?
Yeah.
And it sounds like in the song, she's coming in as a counselor,
Right.
and she's like yelling at them and telling them, "Hey, cut the crap,"
Right.
And it's an amazing song, but the freestyle community, again, and I don't want people to think that this is negative, because for me, this release was one of the top songs of the year, and I played it every week until we couldn't play it anymore. I'm talking about support, because these artists can come out with new freestyle music every week if you wanted to, but if you're not going to purchase it and you're not going to support it, then there's no reason for them to record it, right? And that's why Kay came to this conclusion, right? The most success he's seen, or that any freestyle song has seen in the last 20 years, has been Slipping Through My Hands. So again, if now he's gonna be like, oh, you got to top that one now, or it doesn't sound like Slipping Through My Hands, he's not gonna continue dealing with that. Where in other forms of music, you could do whatever you need to do, and be popular in that manner, and there's no restrictions or parameters that you have to be in, or little box, or whatever that case may be. But that's a great choice. What do you have, Plots?
Number 4 for me is "Don't Forsake Me."
Nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
I mean, besides Kay and AB coming back together, which is a whole nother story. But the song was great. The production, the vocals, it was, it was a freestyle track, and it was it was something that, you know, is TKA.
And then we go back to conditional support, right? Oh no, the beat is not, you know, all these dumb reasons for not to play it. The fact that this song comes from Louis Marte and Alex Baldrick, you know, Merc One,
Yeah.
like it's another reason on why, you know, all these assumptions that are made on social media is not true, that the legends don't give opportunity.
Right.
The song was written specifically with Kay's voice in it, right? And it was written by somebody else that he gave an opportunity to write for him. And they're, you know, they're taking the credit for it because they're getting the production rights and the writing rights and the credits, right? And he didn't ask for any of that. He didn't say I want 50-50 or whatever. So again, where did Kay go wrong with trying to support the new freestyle community? It's hypocrisy at its finest when it comes to supporting something or not supporting something because it's not to what you say your specifications are, but it's just a bad excuse that you're trying to use, right? For not supporting something. There's no reason why no one should have an excuse for not playing actuals Don't Forsake Me. If you're a DJ in freestyle and you did not play Don't Forsake Me by actual, then you're not a freestyle DJ. Especially if you're saying I'm gonna play other stuff that is the, you know, lower tier, lower quality, bad writing, lying, dying, crying type of stuff, right? So
Yeah.
you know, it stinks, and that happened twice, right? It happened with actual Don't Forsake Me, and actual got more play, you know, than Don't Call It Love, the first family of freestyle, but it just stinks that it wasn't given the opportunity that it wanted, right? And it's sad to me too that people don't know certain uh people in the community that when they speak, they're speaking from being there doing this, right? Because it's so embarrassing when people don't know, you know, who certain producers are or the people that wrote freestyle or the people that made freestyle what
Right.
it is. And I won't mention their names because I don't want to drop their names on this video because they're like, oh, please don't talk about me, you know what I mean? But there's two people specifically that they try to type against. I'm like, do you know who you're talking to? You know, it's just nuts to me. Just that conditional support. And if I'm criticizing DJs right now on the show, or we are collectively, is because you guys deserve to be criticized. Because if you're playing pigeon, right, and or some crappy song that allegedly is supposed to be the next coming of freestyle, and you're not playing the legends, which is another thing that happens a lot with freestyle. Whenever someone like a legend like George Lamond, TKA, Stevie B, all the people in new school freestyle, right, on social media are like, oh, they can't mess with me. They don't even sound good. I'm better than them. It's always that type of combativeness. The
Mm.
females, though, in the genre of music are like, I love it. Let's support each other. You know, and then in the coming weeks, you'll see that. You'll see, you know, on CPR's Clubhouse Live, females empowering each other and not doing what men do, and that's tearing the genre down. So I keep having my personal thoughts come through this, but I already gave you the warning that my personal thoughts were going to be part of this because having Kay say that he's not doing freestyle anymore or recording it, it hurts me, but I understand. You know what I mean? So it's like you got to let people go and do what they need to do for themselves to be mentally okay.
Right.
Because you know sometimes this could be draining. I do this every day, and people are always like, "Oh, but Jose, you're always egging people on." I'm like, no, I'm not. Have you seen my inbox? Oh, I've never shared my inbox, have I? Right? You know, so you know, the assumption is I'm a bully, I'm a bad person, I say these sarcastic things. Look at my inbox for 5 minutes and tell me if I should be as sane as I am right now, or if I should be taking a mental day right now, you know, or caught up in a bottle, you know, drinking all night. Because it's pretty tough, man. It's pretty tough sometimes. So
Yeah.
I understand the artist, you know.
Yeah.
Imagine you being K, right? And for 13, 14, 15 years, hearing the same argument all the time. Oh, that's not TKA because the original members are not in there. And
Right.
so in my opinion, and I'll give you my opinion, and people are not gonna like it, right? If you swap out the other members of TKA that are not currently in good standing with K, and you swap them with the current Lowe's and Trey's, same thing. Same thing. Because they danced, right, to the routine, and they never sang any of the songs, right? So
Oh, I get what you're saying.
so
Okay.
what's the
Yeah.
difference? There is no difference. It's just, again, conditional support, people going, you know, that type of stuff that is on social media now, that ooze of people always having some kind of complaint.
You know, it's the same thing when you look at, you know, I'll just turn to the rock genre real quick, right?
Yeah.
And I'll use one of my favorite all-time rock bands, which is Kiss, right? They've swapped out guitarists, they've swapped out drummers. It's still
Oh,
Kiss,
yeah.
you
Yeah.
know? I mean, and if you were to take out, and this is not a, you know, a disrespect to anybody, but if you took out Gene Simmons, it's not Kiss, right? If you took out K, it's not TKA, you
Right.
know?
Right.
So
Absolutely. And so people are mad at that comment, so be careful on your inbox.
I know I'm probably gonna get it.
My favorite comment when Slipping Through My Hands was released is like, if the original members are not in it, I don't want to hear it. And they were talking about not AB but the other two members in their inbox, you know, in their page or whatever. And I'm like, if they would have been part of the song, it would have been the same song that you're hearing right now, because they wouldn't have added anything to it. They wouldn't have sang anything on it. And if they did, they would have removed it like they did in the old Tommy Boy days, right? So because that's what they did. They would let them sing their parts, but then they were included in the final recordings. They would always take them out. And that's fact, by the way. I'm not making that up. So again, you know, it's like this conditional support. Slipping Through My Hands is the best song, not because I'm the executive producer, by the way, but is the best song that Freestyle has heard in 20 years. And you didn't play it because the original members were not on there, where in the end it was going to sound the same. It's the same thing. I'm like, Lowe's, sing that song, that part of the song that you did. Oh, you didn't have one. Okay. Trey's, you sing that song. Oh, you dance. Okay, got it. So that's the same thing that the other guys did. They danced and they didn't sing. I mean, I just don't get it, right? So right now we're gonna move on to the next one on our top five. Uh, we're gonna go with number 3, and I'll start it off. I think True Love is a Louder Than Love spinoff. I think that True Love is just a slamming, and I'm using an old term, right? Slamming. It's one of the best songs I've heard in a long time, and you can hear the passion in the song, right? And now, the song was released in 2016. It's 2022, and now is when people are taking to it, right? Just like living in the 1980s will take another 5-6 years for people to take to it. But it's crazy to me how True Love is now taking off. Produced by Jay Adams. You know, I have permission from Kay to put this out on a compilation, you know, and I know that Jay Adams put it on his Jay Adams Greatest Hits. But you know, if I ever decide to do one, it's the first song on that compilation because it's probably, you know, one of my favorite TKA songs of all time. And again, we go back to conditional support, right? Um, it was the #1 song of 2016 because we pushed it on our show and our audience deemed it that way. But if you go somewhere else, it's like, oh, but it doesn't have an intro, an outro, a middle break. I'm like, yeah, but you played Out of Love. So and you play the short version of Is It Love. So there's no excuse, man. Like everybody so dumb, man. Just I don't get it. What do you have for number 3, Duchess?
Excuse me. I have When Will I See You Again?
Nice, nice. Now, When Will I See You Again? Is not is a kind of a crazy story, right? So Tommy Boy Records sent out a CD single on CDR, right? I still have it. It was a CDR. It had a different versions, but it wasn't like it was like a giveaway CD for people to play it. But the song was never released the way that they sent that promo kit out, right? There was never a 12-inch. There was never anything. Um, Willie Valentine was contracted to do a remix, and that's the version that New England played because I got that directly from Willie, right? And that's the version that we feature. The Willie Valentine remix is the one that we feature, which he went back to the well and he sampled "One Way Love" from the first release from TKA, and then he added "When Will I See You Again," and it was a song that was remixed by Willie and also not accepted by Tommy Boy, right? And then many years later, when the the Forever album was released with Sexual Fantasy, they did a "When Will I See You Again,"
Right, they put it on there.
and it just wasn't the same, right? It was really bad, and they had like a little, they had a really bad version that I still hear it in my mind. It was like they left that sample beat that you use when you're the quantizing beat when you try to match the beat, like they left that in the song, and also you hear. I'm like, no, I don't. But When Will I See You Again is the kickoff to the new school TKA.
That sounds, yeah.
And the Spanish version, there's a Spanish version, is so great. So great. Just a great choice by you, Duchess.
Thank you. It's always been a favorite of mine.
Yes.
Yep.
What about you, Cliff?
My number 3, it's right on my card here. So it's True Love.
I love that song. Yeah. It's the epitome of what a TKA song is, right? And when you listen to it, Absolutely. It is a TKA song. And I implore everybody to go out there and listen to old TKA songs, right? And you're going to see that 4 records are sung by A.B. Cruz, and then the rest of the catalog is sung by Kayel. So, not sure why you always made that fight. The original members are not in there. Yeah, the original singers are in there. It's A.B., Kayel. That's the original singers right there. Boom, done. Right? Great choices, everybody. When Will I See You Again? The Willie Valentine version is just a treasure of mine. I also have an extended version that he did. And so, I get to play that whenever I want. None of you guys can have it. Thank you. No, well, not you, Cliff Potts and Duchess. You, the audience out there. Let's go to number 2. Duchess, what do you have?
True Love.
Yep. I see people on TikTok doing videos to it now.
Really?
Yes.
I played it tonight, literally on air. It was I ended the show, my 2-hour show with it, and then came on and closed it out. I mean, it's on rotation all the time. I love it. You get lost. That first that beat comes on, and you're just like, oh, and it's like it gets you every time. Love it.
It's amazing. I just Jay Adams did a great job.
Yeah, man, he did.
Cliff, what do you have?
Don't Call It Love.
Nice. The first family of freestyle.
Yeah.
Triple F.
Yeah. Listen, you said it earlier. When you talk about freestyle and you talk about something that resembled something that was,
right,
late 80s freestyle, this was it. I mean, if you listen close, this has Mandalay all over it.
Yes.
Nice.
It's a shame that this song didn't get the play that it should have. I mean, I think that enough says enough about those who play freestyle music. This dropped off so fast because, to your point, people wanted to promote something else that was not even close in quality. But to me, that's why it's number 2. It was great production. I mean, Kay sounded great on it. Cynthia sounded great on it. Julie sounded great.
Yeah, I have a podcast with both Cynthia and TKA, KL, K7 on the CPR's Clubhouse podcast. I love Cynthia making fun of Kay. I need to know at the beginning. So she, it was a fun interview. Just a great song. I think that the community really did a disservice to the genre as a whole, because Tony Moran producing a song like that,
right.
It's like it's Tony Moran. Like Tony Moran doesn't have to do this music, right? He's in house music, with he's somewhere else without his shirt on, and it's Tony Moran, right? So we're gonna recap our list because I believe that I even skipped one of mine, right? So I'll start it off. At number 5, I had Actual with Don't Forsake Me. Number 4, I don't think I discussed, and that was Take Me As I Am. It's the one that starts with
Oh,
I'm a hopeless romantic with a dirty mind. And it's just like one of the greatest verses I've ever heard on a freestyle record. And if you listen to the song, by the way, I'll give you a synopsis of it. Is a story of what goes on with him with social media, what goes on with him when it comes to the story of TKA, and what, you know, like the assumptions that are made. You know what I mean? And the story that he tells in Take Me As I Am is so cathartic. I use that word, right? That it's like it tells you everything you need to know, and then at the end you're like, wow, that was an amazing ride. And the fact that people didn't take to that song again because they didn't have an intro, middle, or outro is a travesty of justice because of the fact that it's a brilliantly written song. It's sung great. The
yeah,
production is solid. There shouldn't be an issue, right?
good song.
And let me also, in that same sentence, talk about "Do or Die," which is a song that speeds up and slows down, speeds up and slows down. Just an amazing song, great lyrics. One of the top songs of that specific year that it was released. It was released a few years before the 30th anniversary. I believe it was 2014 that it was released, and then it was released in 2016 under TKA. So the first one was P version featuring K7, The King's Agenda, and then it was turned into a TKA record on 2016. But Do or Die, amazing, and Slow It Down. We talked about it already, and that's my number 4. The Take Me As I Am. We talked about True Love, and number 2 for me is Set It Off. Set It Off G1E remix. Uh, how we became friends, Kay and I, is that I inbox him. I say, hey, listen, I'm a DJ on the radio on 90.7. This is what I do. I'm putting together a compilation. I would love to feature the Jay Allams G1E Josie Santos remix of Set It Off on my compilation, CPR's Clubhouse. Freestyle Man is the Elite. You know, we had spoken before, but we weren't like solid friends at the time. And he's like, yeah, okay. Do I need a release? Nope. So that's it. Yep. Okay. So what do you want for points? What's that? Points. You know what I mean? Like, no, just take the song, do whatever you need to do with it. You know what I mean? And that was at a time where people are not doing what they do now, set up their friends so later on they could be in their pocket. You know what I mean? Or try to sue them. It was a mutual virtual
Right.
handshake, right? Over the phone call. You have my permission. He just emailed me. You got permission to do whatever you need with the song. No compensation. See you later. And he allowed me to put a TKA record on my compilation. Now, my compilation was a small press compilation. It was meant for, you know, a Puerto Rican festival. But the fact that he was like, "Go ahead," that to me is paramount to why
That
we are.
respect doesn't really exist a lot now.
Yeah, man. And it's happened with another person, Willie Valentine.
Mm.
Like, go ahead, man. You know, and so I think that's the reason why we have this bond between all of us, because we trust each other with these projects, and we support each other like we're supposed to, right? All right, Cheryl, let's
Yes,
go
sir.
over let's go over your list before we hit your number 1.
Okay, so 5 was Spanish Lullaby. 4 was Don't Call It Love. 3 was When Will I See You Again. 2 was True Love. And number 1,
Sure, you want to share your number 1? Go ahead.
Slipping Through My Hands.
We got 1 for slipping. All right,
Yep.
excellent. So we'll
Yes,
talk
sir.
about slipping in a minute. I want to hear what Cliff Potts list is.
So number 5, Spanish Lullaby. Number 4, Don't Forsake Me. Number 3, True Love. Number 2, Don't Call It Love, First Family of Freestyle. And number 1, Slipping Through My Hands.
Man, it's like Christmas around here. So my number 1, guess what it is?
Hmm.
It's Pigeon. I'm just So no, it's of course slipping through my hands. So many of you out there know, and I'll say the story again. I was able to put together a song for TKA, K7, KL, where I got to get the assistance of the writer Alyssa B, get the producer Willie Valentine, do what an executive producer does, right? Get the label together, get get the artists together, and really executively produce this project that became the biggest hit in freestyle in 20 years, right? Um, Not something that I said, it's just fact. That's what happened. Um, and there's people out there right now, they're gonna say, no, it isn't, no, it wasn't. It was. It was. And so look, slipping through my hand is the biggest honor that I've ever had in this genre of music, not because of who it is because this is the group that I skipped school to walk to go see at what is now Six Flags, right? My parents don't even know about this, right? And I left like at noontime from my school, and I got there walking by myself. Like this is like by myself to the concert where it took me hours to get there walking from Springfield all the way to Agawam. And I don't know why I did it, but I did it because I thought it was important for me to do it. And when I got there, they were already on stage, and I could see them by a side view of them. And to me, it was so worth it. And I thank my friends who gave me a ride home after. I appreciate that because I would have been scary trying to walk back in the dark. But and to for years later to you know get a from that story from Riverside Park, right, to now in 2020 and 2019, putting together Slipping Through My Hands because it took about a year, and putting everyone together, these brilliant people. That to me is one of my biggest honor. And I would right now show you my TKA title belt. I'm not gonna do that because I don't want people to get jealous, but I have that to commemorate the 12-inch record. And the fact that it has my name as executive producer, and the fact that the extended version is a CPR artistic mix, I think that's great because it's my best friend, my solid friend for 13 years. Um, so three best friends getting together, you know what I mean? And Gino Caporale, who it's just a good man, and 418 Freestyle, who taught everyone how to promote themselves digitally. You know what I mean? Which was a mistake, by the way, Gino. Right? All these years later, he's kicking himself in the rear right now. I'm like, he gave the formula away. Now everybody thinks they can do it better. But I'll let you guys talk about slipping in your own words. Cliff, you can start first.
I mean, great song. I mean, right when I initially heard it, you knew this is the song. And of course, what was it, 2020? That was my song of the year,
Yeah,
right?
mine
So,
too. Yeah.
it deserves to be number one. I mean, the production, the vocals, the songwriting itself. I mean, it's perfect, and Kay sounds great. I mean, not saying he never sounded great, but he really sounds incredible on this song. And if if you weren't playing this, shame on you. But
Yeah. I didn't play it because the dancers were not singing. I love the fact that he is telling Willie that he brought him back. You know what I mean? TKA is in the house. Another
yeah,
Valentine production. Like that is just amazing for TKA K7 KL to be talking about the best new school freestyle label, right? Sorry, Tasmania. Um, Artistic, you know what I mean? It's crazy. So Duchess, go ahead.
Yeah, Cliff took the words out of my mouth from the moment I heard it. And it goes. It's like you send us a lot of music. We share a lot of music. We go over it. We listen to it, and sometimes I'll tell you, I gotta listen to that one more time. I gotta listen a couple more times. Just get back to me.
So what you're saying is you're playing Pigeon and Pterodactyl tomorrow.
Knock it off.
Okay, go ahead.
So yes, this was a song that I instantly, boom, I loved it. just absolutely grabs me right from the beginning. The vocals are insane. The story, the lyrics are wonderful. I absolutely loved it from the moment I heard it, and still do. And I was putting it on rotation as well. And still, we're in 2022, probably still my favorite new school song that dropped.
Yeah, I still think that there are so many people right now trying to catch up to that, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And by the way, that song doesn't come with tragedy, right? Because success, it equals envy, right? So the more successful the song got, the more envious other people got. And then after, that year, I lost so many friends that year for putting this track together. I went from being celebrated to being hated, and to just no longer having certain people in my life that I thought were going to be around for a long time. And so it's not without loss, right? Which I'll circle back to my friendship with Kay, right? My friendship with Kay has always been solid, and I've always been able to be honest with him, about everything, even his music. My favorite part is when he called me one day. It's the middle of summer. He sends me a song. I play it. He goes, "What do you think?" I said, "Are you going for a Christmas vibe?" Hello, hello. He hung up. He changed the whole entire project. But uh, it's just it's understandable on why he chose to leave our music, because doing Slipping Through My Hands and seeing all that love, getting it played on KTU,
Yep.
Getting all that, and then as the time goes on, losing friendships, people that were hanging with him at the time or hanging with me, and hanging with Will, and being cordial with Gino, all that dropped. People in our own team, the Horsemen, one dropped off, unfortunately, with conjecture and bad info, and that's the tragedy of what being successful in freestyle is. And it isn't like we made millions, right? It isn't like I'm like, hey, I got a Maserati out of it. I had the honor of working with the greatest freestyle group of all time, right? The front man, the lead vocalist, right? And to me is an honor.
It really did revive the music too,
Yeah.
because the sound was just not really going nowhere when they came out with it. And that's another reason why I think it was so successful, is we were ready, and they didn't just give us something good, like it just knocked it right out of the park. Like, it was so good, there was just no denying it, and that's why it was being played everywhere. But I get the other side of that as well. So
and Cliff, were you able to mix it?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Cliff Potts, the only man that could mix 3 Planet Rock beats at the same time.
Yep.
Before we get going, I know that I'm the one that overtook the conversation, so I want to say that I thank you for allowing me to do that, right? And I hope that I'm doing my friend justice when I talk about him. And we will have an exit interview with TKA, K7, Kayel. But just know this, right? Social media freestyle is different than real freestyle. Real freestyle are the ones that go to the concerts, are the ones that still buy TKA shirts, merchandise, and that will still continue.
Right.
Social media freestyle is what is going away for K. And though there will be new actual music with AB and K together, and though there's one more project that, of course, if you know who he passes the torch to, you'll know what the final project is. And so the fact is that this is a man that really tried to give you a new version of freestyle, from Slow It Down to True Love to Slipping Through My Hands, through Living in the 1980s. So before we go, we're going to talk about living in the 1980s, right? So living in the 1980s sounds like a shot at freestyle, right? You're right. It is a shot at freestyle. If you really think about it, the woman only wants to dance to the same beat every night, which is pretty much the same thing that has happened to Kay in the last, 20 years. People want Maria, Maria,
Right.
Maria, Maria, Maria. So he can't give you Maria, Maria, Maria. He has to give you other forms of freestyle. He gave you Slow It Down. He gave you the first song to ever discuss Alzheimer's, Mama, featuring George Lamont, right? And they were like, oh, but it's too slow. Okay. Did you play Linear, Sending On My Love? Yes. All right, then shut up. This is faster than that. You know what I mean? These
Yeah.
conditional rules that people have, I could trump them all because they're stupid. You guys put barriers in freestyle for no reason other than the fact that you just don't want to play it and you're trying to find stupid reasons for not playing it. You know, that's why Now That It's Over by George Anthony featuring George Lamont didn't do what it was supposed to do, right? That is why TKA Slipping Through My Hands should have been still played to this day by everyone every week, right? That's why you know, there are songs that we can give examples to. One more, right? Let's do one more. The woman that got me into this music. What's her name? You guys remember? The
Oh,
female
you're
artist.
asking. Oh,
Yes, the female artist that got me into this music. What is her name?
Monet.
My partners know it, right? So Monet came out with a song last year
Yep.
for 2 weeks
Yep.
for
If
the
that.
most of the community.
With
You know what I
George
mean?
Anthony.
Yeah, with George Anthony doing backgrounds like Jimmy Tuttle. Yeah, okay.
Yep.
And what happened? And what happened to that song? We focused on playing that song. Cliff Potts had it on
Oh yeah.
every mix. The Duchess played it every week.
Yep. Yep.
Everybody else was like, "Oh, but it's an old song, and because it's an old song, we can't play it again."
Mm,
No, see, it was a remake,
right.
right? It was a remake, right? Because it was new vocals, new production, new background singer. So that remake qualifies as a new song, right? Unlike remixes that people have the same vocals but just put another beat on top of it and people play it like it's brand new.
Right.
The
The
community
same thing
always
happens with Listen. When
yes, yeah,
the
and
same thing.
that's what the community does on a daily basis. It's like that person that's hungry and your mom feeds them and gives them a big plate of food and they're making if, ands, or buts of why they can't eat that food. Oh no, this has habichuelas on top of it. Oh no, the chicken is touching the rice. You know,
Mm,
you're making a lot of different excuses of why you're not supporting freestyle. Now, if you're okay with losing TKA, if you're okay with losing Niasia, if you're okay with losing D Mike, who was making modern freestyle music, if you're okay with that, then we're going on a path that is in a different direction of where we
mm,
should be. Online, when I say online, I want to keep saying online because
right.
online freestyle community is not real. All right. The online freestyle community is not real. It's the people that are real fans that are still holding on to this music, that are showing up to my shows at the clubs,
Right.
that are showing up to all the shows that DJ Cliff Potts is booked on, that is showing up to all the events that the Duchess appears on. You know, just as a fan because she's a fan first and then a on-air personality.
Right.
And so, you know, I want to wish Kay the best in his future endeavors. Do you guys want to say something to Kay before we go?
I would love to. I've already said this to him, but he and from being such a legend, which I won't even do this because he is literally a legend, and in this genre, and from coming with from he did to be so kind to me from day one. And I could go back to the very first time I ever spoke years ago when I first like introduced speaking to him. Nothing but respect, class act all the way. Like never had a reason to you always say that old saying like never meet your heroes, because you get a little disappointed, but that didn't apply to him. He was who I expected him to be, and then some. Just very nice, very kind, very straight up type of dude that you cannot help but respect. And I thank him for that because even with the show and when I came on the radio, very kind to me, so supportive, and he didn't have to be. Who am I to him? And that's just the type of guy that I've come to know him to be. He is just a very nice, mutually respective dude, cool dude. And so I thank him, and I can't wait to see what he comes up with, man. I can't wait to see what he's gonna do next.
Cliff?
Yeah, I mean, what can you say except thank you for a career of providing incredible freestyle music. Um, the freestyle, I'm going to do the air quotes, freestyle community, needs to realize that that's a loss. Not just from the musical standpoint, but from a person standpoint. And, it's great that he went out on his own terms, so there's nothing better than that. And, he left his mark. And, as an artist, when you can walk away and say, I left my mark and my stamp on that genre of music, you were successful. And God knows he was.
Absolutely.
In closing, I want to say too that I remember listening to him on DJ Paradise's show on Saturdays, and it was before the Facebook. It was the Freestyle File, and he had a conversation back then. And I remember freestyle fans always talking about TKA needs to come out with new music, and for a good part of 15 years, that's exactly what he's done. He gave you new freestyle music, whether you knew it or not, whether you support it or not. He gave you new versions of freestyle, new innovative versions of freestyle. And all you need to do is go back to the catalog and listen to what he tried to bring the genre to.
Right.
And this is not glad handing or praising someone because we're kissing butt or whatever. It's just factual stuff. It's just that he deserves for us to celebrate him. Now, the loss that we're going to have here at the Void is going to be a huge one. But what I wanted the community to know is that this man did do exactly what we asked him to do. He put out new content. He passed the torch. He gave people opportunities. Jay Adams, Louis Marte, Alex Baldrick. He worked together with people from different generations, Woody Valentine, Cynthia Figueroa, and we can just keep talking about that. And in the end, what we did was we always found a reason not to support him. And I think that is the biggest lesson that we can learn about this. We still have legends out there that are going to be putting out new content. Are we going to support them, or are we going to find excuses not to, so we can attempt to make people that don't have talent seem like they do by dissing our legends, right? None of them are ready to become the next TVB. None of them have a stage presence like TKA, K7. None of them. And so if we haven't built anybody to replace these legends, then our music is going to be in great trouble. Personally, I want to say thank you to Kay for being a great friend. And a lot of people have said, oh, this is a person that is going to use you, right? And that they're going to manipulate you into thinking that, their way of thinking. And I can say that has not happened in our relationship in the last 13, 14 years. And I know that the community wants to say that, right? Because they need to taint our relationship somehow, right? But I will say that our relationship has always been based on trust and being honest with each other, even in difficult situations where, people need to, pull the ear of the other. And the fact that I'm able to do that with him, it's like the biggest honor because of what he's meant to me throughout my lifetime. He's my brother, he's my friend. And, we do say I love you to each other, you know what I mean? Which is crazy to me, but we earned that, right? Because the word brother is thrown around quickly now in our social media, right? And in freestyle music. And it doesn't last 3 months, right? The CPR rule. But this one has lasted, 13, 14 years already. You know what I mean? And the love the love you has happened recently, right? And it wasn't because of my medical condition that happened a couple of years back. It's because we've been there for each other through everything. And we talked each other down from the ledge. And he takes my advice. Like, who would have thought, right, that I can give advice to TKA, K7, KL, but I can't give advice to any new school person and tell them, hey, you need to brush up on this, pretty crazy to me.
Yeah.
I want to thank the crew. Before we go, just remember that you can check out the crew on Rhythm 105.9. on Jams 99.3, on Hits 90.5, on Hot 97.7, 90.7 FM, Party 101.9. We are the most syndicated freestyle show in all of freestyle for a reason. We have the Duchess with her own show. We have the Vinyl Assassins with his own show. Then we get together to form Voltron. And when we form Voltron, we're together for 2 hours on Party 101.9. You know, the Vinyl Assassin is always in the mix somehow, somewhere in one of our shows. We are truly a family.
Yeah.
And we can say that no matter how much time we take off from each other, we always come back and we form Voltron. You know what I mean? We're always together. And thank you for allowing me to be in our personal chat group and making fun and having fun with you guys, because sometimes I need to vent out, but I can't vent, you know, publicly because people think I'm being a bully or whatever. But
Ditto. Yep. Same here.
yeah.
You know, the kick I get out of it is, you know, and I'll just go back to the music, is when, you know, there is something we share with each other. Have you heard this? And then we just all have the same reaction.
It's like,
Right. Right. Right.
yeah, right now I'm banned from Facebook because of my Jeffrey Dahmer joke, but I'll say it here, right? Jeffrey Dahmer, the series on Netflix, it has freestyle in it, right?
Mhm.
And it's so apropos because we eat our own. And
That's what you put?
yes, and that's how I got banned for 30 days. But
Oh my gosh.
But that's exactly what we did to K7. We Dahmered him. You know what I mean? He gave us exactly what we wanted, and then we gave every reason not to support him, and we gave every reason not to have him continue doing this music. So I hope it's a lesson to the community. We're leaving with a Dahmer joke. But until next time, it's CPR and the CPR's Clubhouse crew say goodbye. And remember, it's not who you love, it's how. Look for the description for links to our website, podcasts, and shows. And we'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye.